If this is your first Q4 holiday season selling on Etsy with print on demand, then buckle up, keep your arms and legs inside the ride at all times, and get ready because this holiday season is about to be crazy. I've been getting tons of questions over the last few weeks about how to deal with stock issues, shipping delays, a ton of customer service requests, and how to deal with the money piece of it when you get a huge influx of sales. So make sure to stay tuned all the way until the end because I'm going to answer all of those questions for you so you can go into Q4 feeling confident and ready to just be able to focus on making brand new designs to bring to the world and make a bunch of money this holiday season. And if you missed my video from last week, my Christmas success guide, then make sure to go back and watch that if you're feeling lost on what to design for, getting started for the holiday season. I'm recording this in September, so I know it can be hard to get into the Christmas spirit, but in that video, I do share lots of different graphics and exact fonts that you can use in your designs and what styles to focus on and make for this holiday season based off of what is sold well for me in the past 2 years and what is trending already this year. So I'll go ahead and link that video down below if you've not seen it yet. And if you're new here, my name is Cassie Johnson, and I've been selling print on demand on Etsy since May of 2020. And in that time, I've sold over $600,000 worth of t-shirts and sweatshirts on Etsy. And in 2020, in Q4, which is October, November, and December, I sold $105,000 worth of t-shirts and sweatshirts. And then in my second Q4 in 2021, between October, November, and December, I actually sold $179,000 worth of t-shirts and sweatshirts on Etsy. So the first thing we'll go over is delays in printing. So I sell print on demand t-shirts and sweatshirts using a company called Printify. The link for them will be down in the description below, as well as a link for 30 days of free Printify Premium to get up to 20% off all of their items. And that is with code Cassie30 in all capitals. So they actually print and send out all of the items that I sell in my Etsy store. I just make the designs, list them in my store, and handle the customer service. Most of the year, it only takes a few days to get your items printed and sent out. But around the holidays, towards the middle of November, end of November, there start to be a lot of delays in printing since there is such a big influx in orders. And so it's going to be very important to pay attention to how long your orders are taking as you get closer to Christmas. And if a lot of your orders aren't shipping until really close to your promised time frame, then it's going to be time to update your shipping profile on Etsy to say that it's going to take a little bit longer for your processing time. Depending on who you're using for stock and if they run into any stock issues, I have had a few items take almost 2 weeks to get printed, worst case scenario around the holidays. So it's a good idea to set these time frames a little bit long because Etsy really doesn't like to see that your items go out after the quoted time frame. They can even put your account on a shadow ban and hide your store from getting any sales if too many of your orders go over the promised time frame. If you don't catch this in time and change your processing time and your orders are going to go over their due date, you can go to the 3 little dots in the corner of that order and you can extend the ship by date 1 time. So if you need to do this, I would recommend updating it to an additional 5 days because you only have 1 chance to change this, and then it will not count against your shop if you do extend the time frame just once. Because of these possible delays in printing, the cutoff date that I say in my store is December 7th is the last day to order to have it guaranteed to arrive before Christmas. Printify will send out notices as we get closer on what their actual cutoff dates are, which are typically a few days past December 7th. But trust me, I've gone all the way up until December 13th taking orders and then wind up getting messages on Christmas, people wondering where their orders are. So to save yourself some time and headache, just make December 7th your cutoff date for guaranteed delivery. The way that I tell my customers this is I actually add a personalization box to every single listing, not just holiday listings. Because around the holidays, people buy lots of different types of things as presents, not just Christmas-themed items. Now, this does not work if your listing already has personalization on it, so you need to make sure to select only the listings that don't have personalization, and I'll show you exactly how to do that right now. So I have opened my mock-up store here just for example purposes because I don't share my actual personal Etsy account since it is my family's main source of income. But here's my mock-up store, stop, mock, and roll. So if you wanted to go ahead and select all of your listings, if you don't offer any personalization, you can just click this box here and say select all 396 listings on all pages. And then you come here to editing options, go to edit personalization, and then now you can actually add a personalized message to let them know that the items are no longer guaranteed by Christmas. So I have one in here for you just as an example. So I kind of go soft saying due to possible shipping delays, this item is not guaranteed to be delivered before Christmas. Please type yes below to indicate that you're aware this item may not arrive before Christmas and cannot be canceled once in production. And then I make this mandatory by not checking this box. That way they have to actually acknowledge that they've read the message and type yes into the box to be able to buy the item. And this ensures that you don't get a bunch of bad reviews around the holidays if someone is upset that the item doesn't make it in time for Christmas. And this message will be available in my holiday customer service guide that is down in the description. Now let's go ahead and talk about stock issues, but first go ahead and type the word Merry into the comments below if this is your very first holiday season selling on Etsy. And if it's not your first holiday season, then feel free to comment down below any tips that you have for new people on what they might need to know that I haven't gone over yet in this video, and we can all work together to make it an easier, less stressful holiday season. My first tip for stock issues is when you're publishing new listings to Printify, I want you to select the option that says show all variants as in stock. Because around the holidays, a lot of items will go out of stock with your preferred print provider, but I want you to still list them as if all of the variants are in stock. And the reason for this is that way you can still take that order, but if something's out of stock, you can route that order to a different print provider that you trust to make sure that you can still fulfill it. If all of the print providers are out of stock of that variant, so that size or that color when a customer orders it, then my best recommendation is to message them, let them know that that color is out of stock, but here are 2 colors to choose from if they'd rather. And I have only ever had one person cancel in this case. Everyone has always chose one of the other color options that I've offered. And if all of the US-based companies are out of stock of the variant that you need, one great backup to check with is 𝗗𝗜𝗦𝗖𝗢𝗓. They're one of the print providers from Canada, and I ended up using them for about 200 of my orders last holiday season, and it took a little bit longer for shipping, but again, I had my processing time set longer to help accommodate for that. And the pricing is a little bit more as well. So just make sure you've got a good margin in your pricing. That way, if you need to switch to something like this, then you are not losing money. And if you're not sure how to price your items to make sure you have a good margin, I'll go ahead and put a video in the description below on how to price your print-on-demand products. And I actually used sweatshirts as an example, so I'll walk you through exactly how to do that. The other tip I have for stock issues is I have automatic order routing turned off in my store. So if you're not familiar, Printify has something called automatic order routing. That way, if one of the print providers is out of stock, they automatically choose a different print provider for you. But if you leave this off, then you'll get a notification that your item has an out of stock variant on your order, and you can go ahead and click a button to choose which company you'd like to print your item. That way you can make sure you go with someone that you trust to print your items. And now would be a great time to go ahead and like this video and subscribe if you've been getting value from my content so far. It really does help my channel grow more than you guys could know, and I appreciate all of you who have subscribed so far. Now let's talk about shipping issues, because as you can imagine, around the holidays, USPS ends up getting very delayed on how long it takes to deliver their items. Also, items tend to get lost in transit a lot more than they do the rest of the year. It's really normal around this time of year for the tracking to not even update for a few days after the print provider sends your item. So Printify usually asks that you wait up to 7 business days for the tracking to actually update and show the tracking status. If it hasn't updated yet at that time, then you can go ahead and message Printify, and if it's determined that the item is lost, they'll go ahead and send a replacement for you at no charge. Same with if the item says that it was delivered and it actually wasn't. You'll need to tell your customer to wait 7 business days to see if maybe a neighbor goes ahead and brings it by, and ask them to double check with their local post office that they actually don't have the item. And if after that 7 days has gone by and the item still has not shown up, then Printify will again either pay to replace the lost item, or they'll go ahead and refund you depending on what the customer wants. And because of these potential shipping delays during the holidays, I don't offer any rush shipping this time of year, because nothing is guaranteed and anything can get lost. So now let's talk about money issues and what a good problem to have. So talking about 2020 holiday season, I actually got 700 orders in a 24-hour period, and that was a lot of money that I needed to pay for the products before Printify would actually print them. So you need to be ready for a large influx of sales, because if you don't plan for it, then when that time comes, it's going to be a really happy but really stressful time. So my first tip to make sure that you're prepared for an influx of sales is to go ahead and change your Etsy payment settings to pay you every single day for the money that you made the day before. This way you have a constant amount of money from Etsy coming into your account to be able to pay off your credit cards. And that is my best suggestion if you're not already using a credit card to pay for your items on Printify, is to open up some kind of cashback credit card if you're able to, because you can make a lot of money in rewards using cashback credit cards. Last year I used one called the Wells Fargo Active Cash Card, and this one actually gives you 2% back on all of your purchases. So over the $200,000 that I spent on t-shirts last year, I actually made $4,000 back in rewards, and that's what paid for my family's vacation. So that's definitely a good one to look into if you don't have any cashback credit cards for your business yet. Now you do want to make sure that when November comes, you're paying off your credit card every single week. Send a payment for what the balance is in there. That way, again, if you do get a big influx of orders, you don't have to wait a few days for your payment to process against the balance before you can pay for more items on that card. Now, another money tip is going to be avoiding copyright infringements and trademark infringements as best as you can. Make sure that you're checking every phrase in your title, in your tags, and on your clothing, because if you get a trademark or copyright infringement close to the holidays, then Etsy does put your account on reserves, which means that they actually keep a portion of each payment until you ship the item, which means they'll be holding tons of your money until the items ship, and this can make it much more difficult because you won't be able to as easily pay off those credit cards. So just make sure that you are keeping up on checking for trademarks and staying away from copyrighted things like Disney. That way you don't get hit with an infringement this holiday season. Now let's talk refunds and exchanges. I typically don't offer refunds or exchanges in my store, but if someone buys a gift for someone else and it doesn't fit, I will, however, offer an exchange fee of what the cost of the item is. So maybe for a t-shirt, I will charge around $10 for a replacement, and a sweatshirt, I'll charge around $15 for a replacement. So I might lose a couple dollars on them purchasing the replaced item, but then they get another item to give to their family member, and they just keep the original one as well. So that way I don't have to deal with any returns at my house. If for any reason though something is wrong with the print, they don't think the print looks very good, there's a stain on the shirt, there's a rip in the shirt, you just send Printify a picture of the issue and they will either send a replacement or give a refund for you, so you don't have to worry about any issues like that. Lastly, if your customers are just unsatisfied, they don't like it as much as they thought and they're giving you a hard time, you can just go ahead and cancel the order. And what that does for you is it gives them a full refund, and it only gives them a 3-day window to leave you a review. And hopefully because you canceled it, they'll be happy and not try to leave a review at all. But this can be a good way to avoid angry customers leaving you bad reviews around the holidays. I'd say this doesn't happen super often, but don't be afraid to go ahead and just refund someone if they're unhappy, because to me, it's just not worth your mental energy to fight with someone. Lastly, let's just talk about the influx of messages that you're going to get into your inbox. You're going to be getting a lot more messages than you normally receive, like how long is it going to take to get this item? Can I have it before this day? Why is my tracking number not getting updated? And things along those lines. So I actually did create a holiday customer service guide for you down in the description. You just have to join my email list and it will immediately become available to you. I did create 4 saved responses for frequently asked questions. I also included the message about items not being guaranteed for delivery by Christmas if purchased after December 7th message, and even a message to send your customers after they order, explaining some of the most commonly asked questions to try and avoid more messages in the future. So feel free to download that down below. And if you start getting a lot of messages for the same thing over and over again, go ahead and save yourself a new template. That way you don't have to type out that answer every single time, or even consider creating a photo card within your listings to answer that question if you really are getting it that often on any particular listings. Because the better you can answer all of someone's questions within the photos, since they don't always read your description, the better. And my last tip for you when it comes to messages around the holidays and actually all year round is anytime that a conversation with a customer is finished, go ahead and click the button on the top that says archive. That way you can still search for this message in the future if you need it, but now your inbox won't be full of a bunch of random conversations. The only conversations that I leave in my inbox are things that are still open-ended, that maybe I need to send them a tracking number for their replacement or get back to them about a message. That way it's super simple and easy for you to tell what you need to go back and remember to do later. Now, I really hope that all of these tips helped you feel more confident and ready for Q4. Just remember that nothing is as hard or as crazy as it seems. You can do hard things, and if you just go ahead and put the work in and get a bunch of listings up for Christmas, you can make more in the next 3 months selling on Etsy than you can the rest of the year combined. And go ahead and like this video, subscribe, or comment down below. I do try to answer every comment that I get, so that is a great place to go see what other people's questions are. If you're looking for any more information, there can be a lot of value down in my comments as well. Thank you again so much for staying all the way until the end, and I'll see you in the next one.